Metal Mayhem, the podcast where the Brothers Men take a deep dive into the discographies of our favorite metal bands. I'm your host, Brother Paul, joined as ever by my two brothers and co-hosts, Brother John
Hey, killer.
and Brother Dave.
I'm not dead yet.
Season 3, Jesus Freaks. We are diving into the world of Christian metal, and today we are discussing Saviour Machine's genre pioneering 1993 debut album, Saviour Machine I. Join us in the Carnival of Souls. This album was released in June 1993, and try as I might, I actually couldn't find a specific date, but Brother John, hit us with some of the top Christian songs from around that time. Let us know what you were up to in 1993 and give us your album pick.
Oh, with pleasure, brother Paul. So 93. Well, the secular top 40, you can pretty much pick a date and it'll tell you exactly what the charts were. I don't think that exists really for the Christian charts. They're not as well defined, maybe. But I did determine that DC Talk's album Free at Last, which actually was released in 92, was number one on the Christian charts for top selling album for 34 weeks out of the year in 1993. That album was huge.
Enormous.
Yeah, it had the songs Free at Last, Jesus is Just All Right, Love is a Verb, LUV is a verb. They spell it because it is a very like early 90s like hip hop influence, but like also gospel influenced album. It had that song That Kind of Girl. I don't know if you remember that one, but and a cover of the classic song Lean on Me, the lean on me when you're not strong and I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on. That one, that's on there. But I hadn't thought about that album in a long time because that gets kind of overshadowed by DC Talk's next album, Jesus Freak. Yeah, well, is there an album called Jesus Freak? I can't remember. Or is that just the song Jesus
Putting
Freak
us on
is
the
on
spot
that?
for stuff from
Boy,
Oh yeah, I know. Holding your feet
quick
to the
Google,
fire
pop,
for,
pop, pop.
for an album.
It is
from
Jesus
1995.
Freak.
Okay, yeah,
That is the fourth studio album.
yeah. So that kind of overshadows Free at Last, but Free at Last was pretty huge. I mean, like 34 weeks out of the 52-week year in '93, it was topping the charts. But also let's see, according to the Top Christian Hits chart, which measures airplay on contemporary or Christian adult contemporary radio. The number one song in 1993 was actually one by Brian Duncan, who I don't know who that is, but it's called Love Takes Time. And that was the number one song of the year in the Christian charts. So a lot of stuff I didn't ever listen to came out back then, but Audio Adrenaline, I remember the main song that I remember is Big House. Do you guys remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
It's a big, big house with lots and
and
lots of room. A big table with lots and lots of food.
It's my
So-
father's house.
Exactly. That was from 93, apparently, from the album Don't Censor Me. So that was like one of the only ones that I really remembered that came out that year that I had even heard. In 93, I was 10 years old. I turned 11 at the very tail end of 93. So I do not have any clue what I was doing. I was like in fourth grade when this album came out. And I'm trying to think because I probably would have actually found out about this album a few years later, like maybe 97 or something like that. Because it was actually what was it? Miss Martin, who became Mrs. Witten, our teacher. She married Bob Witten. I'm pretty sure it was Bob, who is my classmate Brian Witten's older brother. And I just remember that she, like, her husband Bob was like pretty hip to the music scene, and he was a guitarist or something, but I didn't really know him. I just knew that he was like into music. And she, Miss Martin, or subsequently Mrs. Witten, must have found out that like I was interested in like alternative or metal or something like that, and she recommended that I listen to Saviour Machine. So that's how I actually found out about them. And I do remember she said that the guitarist is incredible. And like listening to it now, it's like, okay, I mean, he's fine, but he's not like blowing my mind or anything like that. So I guess we'll probably get into that as we listen to this. But at the time, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And I listened. This is probably the first album I got, Saviour Machine I, and I really kind of fell in love with it back in high school. So I don't know. We could maybe get into this. Well, I'll just talk about it now. So I did actually get to see Saviour Machine at Cornerstone Music Festival in 2001, and that was pretty awesome. Like the show was very cool, but it was before the show. I actually met Eric Clayton, and he signed a couple of my CDs, and I had brought like a silver Sharpie marker along with me, but he basically said, I got a better pen. And he like brought me back in his trailer, and I didn't even know it was him at first because he didn't have a shaved head or anything, and he like didn't have his makeup on, and I didn't really know what he looked like. But I was like, oh my God,
going into trailers with
some
strange
guy.
men.
No, well, like I knew it was him by the time that happened. But like when I first started talking to the guy at the merch table, it was like him sitting there, and I did not know that it was him. And I think I was probably like, is Eric Clayton around? I'd really love to meet him or something like that. He's like, oh, well, just
of course I know him.
That
He's me.
He's me. Exactly. But anyways, he brought me in his trailer, and he had like a thin Sharpie marker that was a little more elegant for doing signatures. And I don't remember, like we talked for a little bit. I have no recollection of what the conversation was, but I just remember he was very nice, conscientious kind of person, kind, to just be like chatting with a fan and using a better pen to sign the album covers. So I don't know, it's just a fun experience, and they put on a really cool live show, very theatrical and that sort of thing. So yeah, like I said, I don't remember anything about 93, but those are some of my thoughts about Saviour Machine. Brother Dave, what were you doing way back in 93?
Do you have an album pick?
Oh my God, I glossed right over that. So 93, it's hard to find any kind of albums I listened to, but I perused and discovered that the Mighty Mighty Bosstones, my old favorite band, came out with the album Don't Know How to Party, featuring such hits as Toy Soldiers, Our Only Weapon, Someday I Suppose, and 737 Shoe Glue. All great songs. I mean, that whole album slaps.
Bangers.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Bosstones, another one that I discovered later, probably around 97 when Let's Face It came out, but then immediately sought out all their back catalog and really fell in love with some of their older stuff, which, kind of, I don't know if they're pioneers of the ska core genre, but I always considered them to be, with their more like hardcore infused or like just elements of hardcore mixed in with the ska. And yeah, the Bosstones are awesome. So that was my 93 album pick. Now, Brother Dave, regale us with tales of your youth.
Yeah, in 1993, if I could channel the bard Worldane, I was just a child of 9. But
Get the fuck out of here.
No, stay the fuck and do this some more. I love it.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about my life from back then. And musically, I had not really come into my own either. So I spent this past couple of weeks, we've been off, looking through the Wikipedia list of metal albums that came out in 1993 to see if if I could find anything new from that year. I did see Sentenced and Anathema both had releases that year, but both of those bands were in their death metal phase, and like that's not why I love those guys. So, dug through a bunch of things. Very little was standing out to me until I found Cynic's first album, Focus. These guys are pretty well respected in the prog metal scene, as far as I can tell. Uh, but I don't think I've ever heard anything from them before. Um, but after this album, I'm on board. I've been listening to their other albums too. There's a lot of variety in here. They've got kind of a thrash foundation, and then they've got some kind of jazzy stuff, some airy stuff. They've got screamed and clean vocals, and they make a lot of unexpected use of a vocoder throughout. And it just kept me spinning this one up almost as much as I listened to Saviour Machine this week. So, they were doing something right. They grabbed my attention. The production is decent for 1993. That was a issue I was running into with a lot of these older bands that I was trying to listen to. Like early 90s metal production, often not very great. But this one sounded decent as it was, and there's a 2023 remaster called Refocus that's actually does kind of improve on the original sound. So I think this one is definitely worth checking out if you like a little bit of top tier self-indulgent musicianship.
And I do, in fact. And actually, I've heard Cynic before, but not in forever. And I can't recall any of their songs, but I had listened to Traced in Air. I had to look it up. That's the one that I have, which came out much later, probably in
2008.
2008, I think,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, they had
Um,
a big hiatus. And
but yeah,
then
I'll have to go back and revisit them. So thanks for the tip.
Well, and I
I
should
got you.
mention that Paul Masvidal of Cynic guested on Devin Townsend album Deconstruction, which we covered last season.
Oh,
He did the
yeah, his name
and
did come up, and I
he,
didn't know his name back
yeah,
then. So now I can listen to that album again with new ears.
yeah, he does the outro of Sumeria, which is just a fucking highlight track on that album.
Oh, yeah.
So all right. Well, this album came out literally a month before my fifth birthday. So I
What were you
don't
up to?
So it was number one on your wish list at age 5.
absolutely. I will note that I remember you bought me a Saviour Machine t-shirt. Like you were going to Cornerstone and you were like, "Hey, you want me to bring you anything back?" It's like, "I don't know." And then you came back with the Saviour Machine t-shirt for me. I was looking for
I
it.
did not remember that I got that for you.
Yes, it's
I knew that you had it because
yeah.
that was like you wore that all the time.
Oh yeah, I gotta see if I have a picture of that because I actually did DC Talks Jesus Freak for a school talent show while wearing that t-shirt. So
I'm certain that I have a picture of that somewhere, so I can
good.
see if I could find it too.
Worlds colliding. I was looking for it so I could wear it for this episode, but I think it's in storage still. We're not totally unpacked at the new house. But yeah, so I was 4 when this album came out. Don't have a ton of memories from that time, and I don't have access to the family photo albums, so we're just gonna move on to my pick. Um, and I am going to pick My Life with the Thrill Kill Cults album, 13 Above the Night.
Time to go to a heaven place, to a heaven place. Time to go to a heaven place. We can feel the pulse of time.
And I would have discovered these guys via the movie The Crow, which I watched not when I was 4, much later. Because they are the band that is playing when someone falls out a window and lands on their amp, when
I vaguely remember that scene.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like they are just one of the staples of the Chicago like Wax Trax Records industrial rock scene, and they have a lot of disco influences in their songs. So a lot of horns, a lot of grooving bass. They're a lot of fun. I consistently listen to these guys. They're
Says
good.
the guy who hates Diablo Swing Orchestra.
Yeah, but these guys integrate it well, and it's not chaotic.
Oh boy, I'll have to. Maybe we're gonna have to do a little mini episode or mini season to kind of compare and contrast some of these
Yeah.
things and really see,
Where it all shakes
where we
out.
all, yeah, where we all fall on this.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a mini season for change my mind. With that, let us turn to the year in metal. In season three, Year in Metal, we are going to be highlighting the secular contemporaries to the Christian band that we are discussing. And it was a little difficult to find contemporaries because Saviour Machine really kind of pioneered the symphonic goth metal style. And a lot of the bands that sound similar to them came after. However, I ultimately chose two bands that are somewhat comparable. And first off, we have My Dying Bride. They came out with Turn Loose the Swans. And I chose this because it features a lot of gothic elements. And while it's a very slow doom metal album compared to Savior Machine, both albums have a real sense of drama and like gravity to them. So I think that's similar wheelhouse. And the other one is X Japan and their album Art of Life, which is just a single 29-minute long symphonic progressive metal track that tonally sounds reminiscent of Savior Machine. And it's another big kind of sprawling epic, gives you kind of a similar feel to Savior Machine. Both those are really good. I'd say check them out. I do want to highlight three bands that formed in 1993. Our good friends in Dimmu Borgir is the year they got their start. The foundation of Children of Bodom was born when Alexi Leho and Jaska Ratanainen formed In Earthed, which would eventually become Children of Bodom. And finally, metalcore stalwarts Zao, who, spoiler alert, I think we'll be visiting them in a future episode. So let's move on to the personnel on this album. And playing on this, we have the aforementioned Eric Clayton doing vocals, his brother, Jeff Clayton, guitars. On bass, we have Dean Forsyth, and drums, Samuel West. Released via Frontline Records, which was a Christian label that had been dominant in the late 80s and early 90s, it began imploding the year after this album was released, which I think led to trouble for Savior Machine and their follow-up albums. It was produced by Terry Scott Taylor, one of the founding members of the Christian rock group Daniel Amos. So let's dive into it. 12 tracks, 70 minutes long, and it kicks off with track number 1, Carnival of Souls. Brother John.
Oh, all right. I will kick this off as the resident Savior Machine expert. Well, first one of us to hear them and introduce them to you. Well, Brother Dave, I got to ask, did you really listen to Savior Machine in the past, like prior to doing this episode here now?
No, I heard a couple of songs in passing from you guys, but
Okay.
really this was my first introduction to them.
That's kind of what I thought. I'm very excited to hear what you have to say with your fresh ears. But so for me, this is a trip down memory lane because I had not listened to this album in quite a long time, but I pretty much remembered the entire thing, or it all came rushing back to me as I put it on, and it's like, oh yeah, all the hits, all the classics. But Carnival of Souls, this one I recall being maybe my favorite song of theirs way back in the day, or at least one that I really enjoyed. It has an epic sounding start. I mean, there's just like this wailing choir of voices, and that comes on. You're like, oh, well, this is a little different. I mean, it's kind of like an epic like opera or like symphony that you would go see in the theater. It sounds kind of like, and I looked it up. I don't think they actually had a full choir doing this. It looked like from the credits that there's just a few people who probably just did it with multiple vocal layers in the studio. Like there's no actual choir listed in the credits that I saw. But so it starts out and it's like, okay, where are we headed with this? This sounds pretty interesting and cool. Then it chills out to some guitar picking stuff and the vocals come in. And that, I would say, like, of anything in Saviour Machine, the vocals are just what shines. I mean, his voice is great. It's just like, I don't know, is it a baritone or, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I think
deep.
he's probably a baritone.
Yeah, I think it's a baritone. It's very rich and full and just,
Would you say robust?
oh, it's robust. Yes, very much so. But I picked up on some things now listening to it here with my older, more critical ears that back in the day, I don't recall ever having these thoughts. And a big one was like the drums. They sound like they were recorded in a giant echoey auditorium with minimal miking. There's a lot of snare and cymbals coming through, but it sounds like they basically hung a microphone above the drums, or maybe there's like three mics surrounding the drum set in like a gymnasium or something. It's like, who recorded these? These sound like pretty terrible. So that stuck out to me. I was like, wow, I don't remember the drums sounding so shitty any other time when I listened to this years and years ago. But I mean, ultimately, the song pretty catchy. The chorus is rad, where he's like, "Into the carnival of souls, surrender to the fight." You know, it was always one of my faves. Like I said, don't really know what a carnival of souls is, but it sounds cool. So, um, brother
It
Paul,
sounded cool.
do you want to talk about it next, and then we'll get the newcomer's
Oh,
opinion? I want to hear you
yeah.
reminisce about your history with this a little bit too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of the standout songs that I really remember from Savior Machine. And it does have that big dramatic opening. And then it settles down into this subdued verse that I really, really like. I like the guitar picking he's doing on the verse. It's nice. Yeah, the tone on the guitar is also really good. We got Eric's voice. It's just rich and robust. 412, I think we get kind of a nice solo, which takes us to the end of the song. This is a really good opener, though I will say it does have that kind of early 90s production value, which it doesn't, I don't necessarily mind it so much, but it's noticeable. I'm like, okay, it's from the early 90s. I wish it had an updated production so you could really soak in how good this is because I think this is a great track. I really enjoy this one. But yeah, held back a bit by production of the time. Brother Dave.
Yeah, this one, it starts off big. I really like the intro on this one. Then the drop down into the cleans, unexpected. I was kind of, expecting it to get big, stay big, something like that. But, I'm here for it. And the clean tone is good. I will say though that I think his heavy tone on that guitar is really muddy and muffled, which is again that early 90s production. I think they just hadn't figured out how to get a good crisp tone.
Yeah.
Um, and so I ultimately I like that quiet drop down, and then it builds back up. It tries to build back up to a big kind of powerful climax, and the vocals swell, but I feel like the music doesn't match that energy.
Mm.
And so I end up being just a little unfulfilled with this one. And then that extended solo at 412 that you mentioned comes in, and I feel like it's got this very prominent but very boring bass that's overpowering everything else. And I'm like, why is this in front of the guitar? The guitar's kind of noodling around, it's kind of meandering. I think it's passable, but it gets lost in the mix. And I think that's a big complaint that I've got with this album, especially the first half. It kind of feels to me like they recorded this album in order over the course of several months and sort of like learned to record as they were doing it. Because I think the last half of this album sounds much better than the first half. His vocals, obviously, front and center, they are good, but they don't necessarily have a quality that's like really drawing me in, right? Like you could say Warrell Dane is in a similar range, and he's got like zazz that really grabs me immediately. Or like Jason Charles Miller from Godhead.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't get that same immediate draw to Eric Clayton's voice. And so this song is good. I think it's one of the best songs on this album, but there's like it's partly a product of its time, I think. They're and like if they're pioneering the genre, like it's going to be interesting what they come up with. And so I feel like they're doing the best they can on a pretty small budget likely. And it turns out okay, but just based on modern standards, I guess I'm left a little wanting.
All fair points. That brings us to track number 2, Force of the Entity, and they're coming in a little more hot with this one. Some faster riffing. It almost has a bit of a power metal feel. Like
I wrote power metal-esque intro,
yes.
and
I
then I wrote
said it reminds me of Trans-Siberian Orchestra, which in my
It-
opinion, that's a great thing. And I'm
Yeah.
actually going to see them in December. But
Oh, jealous.
yeah, dude, I've never seen Trans-Siberian Orchestra and I am pretty pumped about it.
Yeah.
But
that's gonna be
yeah,
sweet.
something about it reminds me of that. But then I put on Trans-Siberian Orchestra after I heard this, and I was like, oh man, the production is so much light years ahead of what we're listening to here, and just like the modern sound, like we've been saying.
I'd love to hear Trans-Siberian
Yeah.
Orchestra recorded with just like 3 hanging mics in a gym.
It sound the same, but I mean, like I think you were kind of saying this before. It'd be awesome to hear this album re-recorded with like modern good production. Like
Yes.
give it the Trans-Siberian treatment, and then they'd be selling millions, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, like it felt kind of Blind Guardian, a little Iced Earth. Which was good. I mean, there's a lot of guitar noodling going on underneath, which I enjoyed, and it's got another big kind of dramatic ending to this song. Let's do Brother John.
Oh yeah, I mean, I also said it ends strong. One thing I noticed at 2:38, there's some cool guitar riffage happening, but it does kind of get lost in the mix behind the vocals mainly, which are front and center. It's the part where he's singing, "Let us enter, frightened ones suppress the need to hide. Let us cross the river streams unto the other side." And there's like this cool guitar riff going on during that part, but I only noticed it for the first time listening now. And it was not super noticeable really, but I thought it was cool, so I was picking up on that. But yeah, this is a good song. This is a good song.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a slowed down power metal song, basically, sung in a lower vocal range. I said, and it's not particularly technical, like relative to power metal. Pretty, it's pretty easy, music wise. But it's not shooting for technical, it's shooting for theatricality, and I think it hits that for sure. And the big thing holding this back is the production, which is really muddy and muffled. But decent song.
Maybe maybe they were doing what you were saying and they were able to purchase more microphones as they
Slowly
continued through
as
the
the time went
process.
on.
God, it's payday. Cool. We can get over to Guitar Center, buy another mic. It's going to zazz up the next track that we record.
All right, track number 3, Legion, Brother Dave.
And I think this one is where the mix kind of starts getting to me. Like the guitar is again buried behind a really boring bass line. Like the bass, it's hitting the right notes, but there's nothing technical going on this bass, and you should not be able to make it out of the mix, right? Like it could be functional if it was hidden back where bass is just like in the foundation, but it is not. It's like right in your face. So that was grating in this song. And then I wonder if the drums and the reverb, like everything has that big room, empty room feel, just like a lot of reverb on it. I wonder if this was an attempt to make it feel like big and expansive and kind of get that theatricality on a small budget. And it's not really working for me. I do like what the keys are doing on this one. It's got a nice clean piano sound at times. But this one was tough for me.
Yeah, the piano, I liked it. I'd say it has good use of piano, filling out the sound throughout.
The dragon breathes the fire as blood drips from her eyes until delivered of the child.
And this is one thing when we did Sakis Tolis a few weeks ago, and we touched on the fact that he has the piano version. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I feel like that album would have been way cooler if he would have mixed the piano stuff in with just the regular album and had a lot of those just clean piano keys throughout. And there's a few songs on this album that utilize that, and I really like that sound, especially for this sort of symphonic operatic sort of thing. I think the piano fits really well and I like it. But yeah, the production quality on this, my notes say this sounds like it was recorded live in a symphony hall, which I think maybe works for what the album is and what it's trying to convey, but it sounds like a good live recording, which is similar to saying it sounds like a shitty studio recording. It's just a bit muddled. So
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, they did the best they could. But I like it. It's another bop. So the songwriting I think is decent, and they're coming out with catchy jams, but they just needed somebody better producing this thing.
Yeah, so I guess first off, we need Sakis Tolis to release a third version of his album, which is just the original and the piano put on top of
Yeah.
Yeah.
the ultimate edition. I'll
Let's hear
message
that
him with that
mashup, baby.
idea, and then hopefully be able to interview him. And yes, this is also the song, Brother Dave, where I'm like, this mix, like, is this an active choice they're making? Because it's confused, because the guitar, you use the word buried. Yeah, it is way in the back. I'm like, and it's doing kind of interesting stuff.
Like it's in the back during solos.
Yes.
It's baffling.
It's the weirdest choice. I'm like, did they just reverse the toggles there? Like, what was happening? I mean, the piano, I like it. This song is kind of it's like a big ballad almost. It's like piano. It's dramatic. The bass is at the front for some reason, just playing notes that should not be at the forefront. It's still a bop though. it despite the production holding it back, I still like this one. But I think it's time for us to open up our segment, lyrical tactics, vocal gymnastics.
Lyrical tactic, vocal gymnastics.
Because I think we really need to talk about this song for two reasons. One, this is the song that got them banned from Christian bookstores due to the lyrics. And two, I want to dive into the lyrics and the apocalyptic imagery because I think that was something that we were raised with. So, um, so first off, specifically, I think the lines that got them banned were,
Could I, before you jump into this,
yes, please.
because I only knew that there was a controversy on this. Because you guys had said that this is the one that there's a controversy on, and you
Yes.
didn't say why. And so I went into this just listening to it, and my first thought was, he had the line, "The dragon slides between her thighs," and the line, "Between her legs they crawl in torment." And I was like, in my mind, I was like, that probably didn't go over super well with conservative Christians who are allergic to anything having to do with sexuality. But let's go read the lyrics and see what this is actually about. And then I read the lyrics and I was like, isn't this just kind of an artistic rendering of events in Revelation? Why was this banned? And then I went and I looked it up, and apparently it was because it had sexual imagery. So I
Yes.
was right. Like, and that's so stupid.
Yeah,
It's so
Agreed.
that was ultimately going to be my point. Is this is a retelling essentially of Revelation 17, which talks about Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitute. There's a whole if you are not if you were not raised evangelical, you might be a little lost. The book of Revelation is we were raised to believe it's the book of the end times. There's all sorts of apocalyptic imagery of and it's all metaphorical and allegorical. Truly, I
Right, but
don't think
we're
that's
raised to
yes.
believe that it is a metaphor for things that will actually happen. So they're like,
Yes.
when it says this, that probably means that, it's some modern day nation that is going to rise up and, enslave people or whatever, stuff that actually is maybe kind of happening. So
Yeah.
it's AI, baby.
Yeah. And I mean, we were raised to believe that it was going to happen during our lifetimes also.
Yeah. Well, I guess
Yes.
maybe it's turning out to be that Dwight Doville of Calvary Chapel Appleton was a
Shout out
prophet
Dwight.
in his own right.
But yeah, so they are using the apocalyptic end time imagery from the Bible, and that is what got them banned from being in Christian bookstores. And I think
It's in the
that's
Bible.
it's such a
It's so
perfect
crazy.
it's such a perfect encapsulation of evangelical hypocrisy is that if they actually read the Bible, which I don't think they do, they'd be disgusted by it because there's a lot of crazy stuff in there. And so what they do, I think, is they just kind of they gloss over the parts that make them uncomfortable, whether it's this all the sexual imagery. Uh,
Mhm.
actually, I was at church a couple months back, and God, the passage was something from the Old Testament, and afterwards we're walking out. My wife looks at me as like, a lot of circumcision talk in this.
The part where he's taking a stone shard and circumcising the Philistines against their will or whatever that was.
I forget what it was, but just we
Samson
both
had to touch a lot of dicks.
yeah. So there's a lot of that, and that just it's pushed down. You don't talk about it. You don't actually read those parts of the Bible. You don't ever really grapple with how sexual the Bible is, how much incest there is,
Mhm.
how much rape there is. And you
Yeah,
also
or like
don't,
where Lot was going to give his daughters to the angry mob so that they wouldn't try to rape the angels that had come to stay with them or whatever. He's
yeah.
like, take my
Yeah.
daughters instead of these strangers who we just invited into our house. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is insane. This is literally insane.
So I think it's crazy that they banned a Christian band
And
for
not the
having
Bible itself from their
yeah, for
bookstore.
having Christian lyrics from the Bible. Like it's
Yeah.
insanity, and that just sums up Christianity in the West. And
Yeah.
I mean, probably everywhere, but
And that
evangel
same kind of thing would happen when they would be playing live at certain shows and like other
yes.
Christian bands too. Like the venue would like pull the plug and all of a sudden, like the lights and the sound, it's all off.
Mhm.
And, the show's over basically because it was too much for the show promoter, who's usually probably like the youth pastor of that church
Right.
hosting the show at their church. It's like he didn't know it was going to be like this. It's like, oh, we better just pull the plug. It's like they are just singing about stuff that's in the Bible. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
That's so I think kind of the last point is I think Christianity often values the aesthetic and the appearance and the convention and adherence to norms that they impose rather than the actual message. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I can think of various Christian bands I'd listened to that was like people would be abhorred by because they didn't look like they should be Christian. It's all about appearances. So, very on display here. So let's move on to
Yes.
track number 4, Ludicrous Smiles. Brother John.
Well, this is another one that starts out reminiscent of Trans-Siberian Orchestra. So again, no wonder I love Saviour Machine, because I also love Trans-Siberian Orchestra. But we don't have to belabor that point. The intro riff is pretty sick. I think he's using an effect, like an echo effect, that probably makes it sound way sicker than how difficult it is to play, but it sounds pretty cool to me. And so I was kind of wondering, like, where my recollection is Miss Martin saying, this guitarist is like amazing. He's going to blow your mind. Was he just like doing some slow picking, but with an echoey effect that made it sound
Yeah,
cool?
I think I think
'Cause
he's
it's
doing
fun.
that on the clean parts on the first song also, that it's
Yeah.
just a delay.
Yeah.
And that sounds really cool to people who it sounds really hard to people who don't know how to play guitar.
Or who
And have
don't
never
know what's going on. It
about
sounds like he's
delays.
playing
Yeah.
more notes than he's truly playing. It's like, that's just like echoing and like kind of repeating from the delay pedal.
Mhm.
Sounds good though. So Miss Martin, you're right. It sounds cool, but you're wrong about him being technically a wizard, especially after listening to so much like crazy, like technical metal over the years, and then coming back to this. It's like I always had
Right.
in my mind that
But-
these guys were incredible, but they're just like normal.
Yeah.
I guess I would
And
say.
even for the time, he's not like there are like musicianship and guitar has gone off the charts in like the 2020s. But even back here, there are plenty of amazing guitarists already, and this guy's nowhere close.
Yeah. And oh man, I should have looked more into this before we did this episode, but I was watching a bit of a documentary. I don't think Eric Clayton was really a musician before he kind of started this band, and then within the next year or two recorded this album. And I'm not sure how much background in music the other guys had, or if they just kind of formed the band. Eric Clayton was essentially like addicted to drugs and like basically got clean and turned his life over to the Lord or whatever, and started this band. And it kind of was like a life altering experience where he saw God or whatever. And I didn't look into the background of the other musicians, but like the guitarist is his brother, and I'm not sure how much they really were doing much in music prior to this. So it's pretty good for assuming that they basically picked up their guitars and drums and vocals and started this band, coming out with some pretty good stuff for being pretty new to music, generally speaking. But Ludicrous Smiles, is that what we're talking about? I mean, they're laying down some pretty good melodies. They're my note says the melodies he's laying down are pretty undeniable, in my opinion. So again, another bop. It's a catchy gothic opera jam. And at the end, you don't really realize where the song ends because it blends right into the next one, which I like when they do that. Brother Paul, tell us
Yeah,
more.
yeah, nice intro. But the drums on this album are really weak. There is a fill at 105, which is the saddest fill I have ever heard. It's just like a doom doom. I'll cut it in. It's so sad. But overall, I this is a good song. It's got a nice long chorus, and the ending of this song is just what they did for Force of the Entity, and they're kind of repeating the same phrase over and over while the music crescendos. And spoiler, that's not the last time they're going to do that on this album. But
Oh no.
yeah, not at all. But hey, it works here. And I think it works everywhere else also. So I like this one. This is a good one, Brother Dave.
I mean, you say it works here, but does it? Does it?
You sure about
This
that?
one, I mean, you're sure about that? This one's peppier than some of the other ones, but not by much, and it falls into the same traps. I it I like on one hand I like it because the chorus stands out and it's kind of memorable. I feel like some of the previous songs were a whole bunch of singing just start to finish, didn't have like big hooky choruses or anything. So I do like that there's a chorus here. It helps break up the song and give it sort of some dynamics, which I also feel is kind of missing up until this point. He's kind of singing at the same, like our tone and our pace and our riffs, they're all starting to blur together to me. So the fact that we've got a chorus that stands out here, that's good. But it gets repeated so often. It like we hear about these ludicrous smiles so many times. And by the end of this song, I'm starting to feel worn down. I feel, and so then I look at how far we are in the album, and it's not just this song that's wearing me down, but it's kind of that lack of dynamics. It's kind of everything becoming a muddy, that's like the muddy mix and not having a whole lot of distinct parts necessarily. We're like a third of the way through this album, and that's not a great feeling for me at this point on almost every listen through.
Well, now we are on track number 5, The Wicked Window. And this is a really atmospheric song. They're basically just holding the same guitar riff while Eric sings, and there's kind of loose drumming going on, and it's not going anywhere until about 3 minutes in when it resolves into an actual song. And then everything drops out at 3:33 and lets the guitar just riff around. And it's so finished doom coded at that point. And I love it. Brother Dave.
Did you call this the Wicked Window?
Isn't that what
That's what it's called.
yeah.
The Wicked Window.
Oh, it's not Widow?
There's
fuck?
another song later that's called The Widow and the Rain.
Oh,
Or
shit.
the Widow and the Bride. That's what it is.
Yeah.
In 2 songs from now, or 3 songs
I have
from now.
fixed my notes. It is the Wicked Window.
Yeah,
which
I think-
sounds worse.
I think
to
they're
me,
talking
but,
about the surveillance state, really. And so, reading these lyrics and listening to this one, I was like, could Eric Clayton and Merle Dane have been besties? Maybe
Yes.
in an alternate reality where they knew each other. But yeah, No one is safe. Nothing and no one is safe. The ministry enslaves.
Central
Yeah.
Intelligence Agency freaks, listen to every call.
Yeah.
So the benefit of this song is that it does change the dynamics of the album. It's got like the kind of slow droning intro and it like a long intro that takes a while to pay off. Then at 4 minutes we get the peep show creep show part that's kind of like dropping down to quiet and moody. We're getting some dynamics. This is good. And then at the end we get like this kind of like peppy the call me, call me, call me the one. Part,
Oh, yeah.
which is yeah, like there's maybe I spoke too soon when I was getting worn out by the end of the last song because now we're introducing some of that stuff that I thought was missing. So I'm still here. I'm still here, brother John.
Yeah. Well, I already said some of my things that I had in my notes, but I really like the part at about 3 minutes. It kind of gets to this crescendo of this build that they're doing, and then it goes into a driving halftime part where the lyrics are, they penetrate illusion, the wicked window's eyes that fortify the lies, the wicked window's eyes. That part really slaps. I like that part a lot. That's all I had.
Well, Brother Dave, we are now halfway through. At
Whew.
track number 6, Son of the Rain, Brother John.
Oh man, another one where it has good use of piano. I like on this one. Starting at 18 seconds when the vocals come in, it's just piano. But as the song goes on and the other instruments get into it, the piano continues in the background and really fills out the sound in a nice way. It has a classic line that always stuck in my head where he's like, the sky will burn. The sky will burn. Just, the apocalyptic imagery that they have in a lot of their songs. And speaking of Revelation and the apocalypse and all that, as we were before, Saviour Machine does go on to have the Legend trilogy, or there might actually be 4 albums that came from it, which is essentially they sing about all of Revelation. And throughout the course of those albums, the entirety of Revelation is recited in like spoken word form in the songs and in the background of the songs. So it's a very epic endeavor, which if you're interested in Revelation, I would recommend you should go check that out. And I think the production on those albums is a little bit better than on this early one, but I like this early one better. Anyways, that was a tangent. The melody of this one and just the orchestration of the instruments with the piano, the distorted rhythm guitar, they got some slow driving drums, the emotion laden vocals, it's all mixed together. It sounds haunting and epic. I really like this song. At 2:36, there's an extended but somewhat slow solo. Sounds nice though. Again, the solos aren't, it's not like a Jeff Loomis solo where he's doing anything too flashy. But what he does, I think it fits well with the songs and it sounds good in my opinion. And then my last note at 4:31, they have more of that background chanting that just adds some additional depth to the BGVs, the background vocals. Brother Dave, what'd you think about Son of the Rain?
You mean Son of the Rain, Son of the Rain, Son of the Rain. The broken record that is this song. Again, overuse of repetition.
Yeah, did you count how many times? I did not, but they do say Son of the Rain quite a number of times.
Actually, there was one song I considered counting on, but I did not go. But too much. He does seem like he's trying to inject some vocal variety into this song. Finally, he's had a very kind of, solid but very one note and not super dynamic delivery that he'll usually just kind of hit around like three notes that are close to each other and make a little tune out of it. And after 5 songs, that's not working for me anymore. So he's mixing things up a little bit here. He puts a little mustard in some of his deliveries when he says, "In its tortured remains," which I liked.
The sky will burn. The sky will burn.
Overall, I think this one, the piano intro really helps this one stand out, and we get a little bit more contrast between sections. This is, despite the horrible use of repetition, is probably one of the better songs on this album, I think.
Okay. Literally the opposite for me. Another big ending where he's just repeating the same phrase as the music swells. It continues to be effective, even though they've done it at least 3 times on this album. The rest of the song doesn't really stand out, but I love the ending. We are inverted, brother.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
Oh, well, let us move to track number 7, the 10-minute long epic Killer. Brother Dave.
Starts off with some dissonant violins. This is new. This is interesting. And then we get a Middle Eastern scale, possibly the Byzantine scale. I didn't actually check, but it sounds like it. It's used in kind of the most basic form, but I can't really get on his ass about this because that's exactly how I've used it in at least one song I've written, which you just kind of chug it on the rhythm guitar and then you kind of noodle over it and it sounds great. This one, holy shit, the repetition. Killer. And then he says some stuff and then he says killer. And at 3 minutes and 55 seconds, on almost every listen through on this song, I found myself looking at the runtime and losing heart. I think he realized that by the 4.5 minute mark, it was getting to be a bit much. So he did throw some grit onto the "Killer will annihilate" at 4:42, which I appreciate. But then it's just more of that until 8 minutes, which is kind of the end of the song. Then for the next 2 minutes, we get like orchestral swelling and epicness, but it's got a drum beat under it. And I assume that that's going to kind of resolve into something coherent, but nope, it just kind of stops. And it feels like they've layered 2 or 3 different songs on top of each other. And this part is odd, and I don't know what they were trying to do with it. And this song it has some memorable moments, but it's marred by overlength and repetition.
Yeah. The vocals are done at 7.5, and the song, for all intents and purposes, is done at 7.5 minutes. Then there's that 2.5 minute extended fade out wind down. It basically sounds like it's a musical score of Dante's Inferno or something. Like we're kind of descending into hell and there's all this chaos and it's like, what's happening? Pretty unnecessary as a component of the song itself, but it sounds cool and adds flavor to the album as sort of an overall, if you think of it as listening to an opera or experiencing something in that vein, I feel like the end part of this song kind of works as a concept piece more so than actually being part of this particular song.
Yeah, I mean the Eastern guitar riff is what stands out about this one. At one point, God, it gets me every time he goes, "Killer will attack."
That's pretty funny.
It's hilarious. this song is a mess. It's a it's a slog. I'm right there with you, brother Dave. 100%. And then that ending, the ending is a choice which I would not have made. I mean, they're using it's a sample I don't know, but it's like a well-known kind of classical song that's going on top of like what sounds like a movie score on top of other random noise
Yeah.
for 2.5 minutes. It's a bold choice that I don't think works at all. I don't think this song works. I mean, you make it 3 minutes maybe, but oh my God. This one's a this one's a wreck.
Yeah.
Track number 8, The Widow and the Bride, Brother John.
Yeah. So this one, like coming out of that crazy opera outro from the last one, it just goes right into something completely different. Drum heavy intro at 13 seconds. The verse starts. There's some heavy use of what sounds like a China symbol in there. It's just like a fast paced, upbeat number. Lyrically, it has a lot of metaphorical references that just sound interesting. He refers to witch of seduction, virgin of lies, master illusionist filled with surprise, freak of destruction, leech of the ages, ghost of creation, etc. Like, what's he talking about here? I mean, probably the devil or something, but I guess I don't really
Kind
know.
of Dr. Seuss meter also.
Yeah. We got the one fish, two fish, red fish, master illusionist. But it's probably the devil. I don't know. At 141, there's a guitar solo. And Dave, I don't know if you had any notes about this, but am I right that that is just like a heavily blues influenced guitar solo? Because it didn't really sound like a metal guitar solo. I don't listen to a lot of blues or anything, but that's what it struck me as being to my untrained ear.
I mean, blues, I don't remember this solo specifically, but blues is kind of the foundation of a lot of metal when you get right down to it. So I would not be surprised if he was maybe just hammering on some pentatonics or something. I had noted that I wonder if it's purposely buried in the mix because they know it's not very good.
I don't remember thinking it wasn't good, but I was like, this doesn't sound like super metal. It's just like, and now I can't think what it sounds like either offhand. I didn't listen to this today or even yesterday before we're recording. But yeah, I just thought it was sort of an interesting stylistic thing on what is essentially a metal album, because it didn't really sound very metal at all, but I feel like it was fine. Maybe it sucked. I don't know.
Maybe that's a little strong. It's not that it sucked, it's that it wasn't particularly technical, is what I had written. And so I feel like maybe they knew that and were kind of burying it because it didn't have the strength to stand on its own in front.
I see. Well, at 220, what stands on its own is that they use thunder sounds to accentuate the ominous bridge section where it slows down significantly coming out of that solo. So that was interesting, and I didn't dislike it. Again, it just, to me, sort of fills out that sort of operatic, epic, sort of symphonic thing that they're creating here, just adding in different soundscapes and things like that. But again, on this one, my notes, the production quality is that of a live recording in an echoey concert hall and not what you would want from a studio album necessarily. Brother Paul.
Yeah, this song has a real frantic quality to it. It often feels like he's about to run out of breath as he's singing. And yeah, I do not care for that solo. Those thunder sound effects are there. I understand your charitable reading of them, Brother John, and that they're there to make this feel epic and big. but this song just doesn't quite land for me.
Maybe they were recording live in a thunderstorm. It's all original stuff.
Brother Dave.
Yeah, I'm much in the same boat as Brother Paul on this one. This is the song though where I noted that the drums are different. That they seem less bad, but at the same time they are really laying into that cymbal, and it kind of ruins the whole thing.
Yes, yep.
I already talked about the solo. I feel like the production is still really holding this one back.
Which brings us to track number 9, Christians and Lunatics. I really like the chorus on this one, though. I forget how it goes, but the follow me in madness, follow me in fear. The verses, though, just aren't quite doing it for me. And I think we get some spooky oohs kind of right at the end. And the ending, again, I believe it's done in my favorite way of repetition and building. So,
yeah, at the end of this one, he says, manifest the sun 13 times.
Hell
which
yeah.
is maybe more than was
Hell yeah.
necessary. But who's counting other than me? Because I was like, God damn, he says it so many times. Like, how many times did he just say that? And so I backed it up and I counted, and I was like, oh my God, that's, about probably, like 8 or 9 times too many.
no,
Like, just do
hard
it. Go through
disagree.
it once. Could have done 13 more. Yeah, this was the one where I was like, they've gone too far.
He's got to be stopped.
Yeah.
I feel like the good part of this song is I have written the verse has groove. It's literally the first groove on this album. I don't remember what that is right now, but it grooved enough that I wrote it down. And like Paul said, the chorus is memorable and singable. Though maybe this is a pet peeve of mine. I don't know. I really dislike it when lyricists use rape to describe almost anything in their music. If you're not actually talking about rape, it seems like it is inappropriate to use that as a metaphor because it usually doesn't match up to the act, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, rape me in your tears, what does that even mean? It feels like it's using edgy language for the sake of being edgy, and like that line actually really takes me out of this song. At 2 minutes, we get a 50-second solo that nobody needed. And at about 3 minutes, we get a tom heavy lower vocal part, which would be great if we could make out the drums through the reverb. But, I'll take some tom work, I guess. Take what I can get at this point in this album.
Yeah.
Brother John? Yeah.
I don't have anything else to add. I mean,
Perfect.
Oh, wait. No, I do. The very final 5 seconds has the same zazzy riff that it started with and some big orchestral type hits. And they got the chorus of wailing singers behind it. That's like a good, despite saying manifest the sun 13 times, and I don't know how long it took him to do that. It's like a minute of unnecessary song, but then they end it very strong. So I like that ending.
All right. Track number 10, The Mask, Brother John.
I didn't have a ton of notes on this one, other than it has a pretty noticeable bass line throughout. And Dave, I bet you were probably going to talk about this because you touched on the bass. He was taking the dogs for a walk up and down the frets on this one. And I was like, should I be noticing the bass this much? I mean, it's the foundation of the band, but come on. But
Such a bad bass line too.
but on the plus side, it does incorporate.
boom, 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 boom. Oh man, it's stuck in my head. It's so prominent and bad.
But it has some more of that piano that I like at 3:39 and maybe other parts of the song. And I do like when they add in the nice clean piano. So that was good. Brother Dave, why don't you tell us a little bit more about the bass?
It was awful, and this song overall, absolute snoozer. It's called The Mask. So, in the spirit of the song's title, I would describe my feelings toward this song as somebody stop it.
Get the fuck out of here. Oh my God. All right. Well, we are no longer aligned because they knock it out of the park with this one. I love the guitar, love the chorus. And during the instrumental break after the chorus, I think the drums are doing an interesting pattern. We get that piano to take us out with some extra emotion. What more do you want? It's great. I love the assassination. It's so good. Love this song. Takes us to track 11, A World Alone again. We get a real kind of doom-coded intro on this one. And then at 2:10, it comes in with just this 80s soaring guitar, emotional ballad. This song is a bit of a mixed bag for me. Elements that work, the doom code. Elements that don't work, couple of sections there and there. Overall, it's fine. I was reading the lyrics though, and yeah, I think Brother John's right. I think that Warrell Dane and Eric Clayton could have been friends because it's basically about just destroying, like mankind destroying the world.
Yeah. We keep covering songs about wishing the world wasn't going straight to hell. And I assume this is because artists and musicians are more likely to be caring individuals who have empathy, maybe. And it got me wondering, like, are there other musicians out there who just sing about exploiting the world and exploiting people and maximizing corporate profits? I don't think I've ever heard music like that, but maybe it exists. Do you guys know? Or is it just that artists are typically more tender-hearted, thoughtful individuals who wish things were better, and that's what they sing about, and that's why we have more songs along these lines? Or have we just happened to hit on a few songs over the course of the pod that deal with these same kind of themes? I guess maybe like an exploitative worldview seems somewhat antithetical to an artistic worldview, but I guess you never know what people are making music about. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably true to some extent, but also you do get like really xenophobic music and shit like that is really popular, but it's in outside of our musical bubble and it sucks, but
Yeah.
it's still very popular.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
suppose.
I think there was a whole subsection of, I mean, I know there were, I can think of specific like rap artists and rap uh, groups and songs that would talk about basically just about getting money, you know. That wasn't solely just rap and hip hop. That's the one that's coming to mind. I think that we should probably start a band, us three, and call it Shareholder Value and just write songs about, you know,
KPIs.
KPIs, man. Let's hit those deliverables. That'll be the name of our album.
I would join this band with you. So maybe it is time to get the Brothers Ben band off the ground.
Maybe we can put your bass front and center.
Oh, nice.
You gotta take those dogs for a walk though. People love to hear it.
Brother Dave, I don't know who's talking about this song anymore.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, Dave, tell
Yeah.
us what you think, and I'll come back to a couple more thoughts.
Much the same. It's got like a moody, clean intro. I think it works. This is actually the first and only instance where they had a chord progression where I was like, oh, that's neat. At 135, it just goes away. I wasn't really expecting. And I mean, the way they are putting chords together throughout this song is really standard most of the time. So that one stood out to me. The power ballad section in the middle is weird.
Yeah.
It's a choice. It's different. So I mean, again, they're addressing my concern that things were kind of sounding the same, I guess. Um, we get some nice or layering of piano and some like orchestral keyboards. Um, I felt like the reverb wasn't as prominent on this one. Like maybe they've kind of dialed in their levels a little or something. It was probably a minute too long, but I feel like this is maybe the most distinctive song on the album. So yeah, we got some pros and cons.
Yeah, I just had a couple additional comments as I'm looking at my notes. At 435, the part where he says, "My world has no more meaning." I like that part. It's got some swelling synthy keys in it. That part sounds pretty cool. And I just wanted to call out, well, these guys are from California, I believe. We've called out some funny pronunciations from English as a second language folks, like Swedish or Finnish artists. But at 5 minutes, he says, "In a world that's drowning." The word is drowning, not drowning. So it made me chuckle when I heard that. That's all.
Well, that takes us to the last track number 12, Jesus Christ. How about we have Brother Dave talk? I'll go, and then Brother John will finish us off.
First of all, we haven't mentioned songmeanings.com. There's not a whole lot on that site for this album, but I thought that this comment from Revelation Travis was
A new friend of the
prescient.
pod, perhaps.
Perhaps. We'll see. This is a song about Jesus Christ, as the lyrics say. Very powerful song.
Friend of the pod, confirmed.
This one, it flows cleanly from the song before. It's got a nice picked clean intro, some quieter vocals to bring us in, which gives him space to rise into the crescendo that we get at 130. I feel like they're figuring it out. They're figuring out how all the parts of the song come together by now. The chorus isn't good, but it is distinct. So that's something.
You don't think it's good? I'll rebut
No.
in a moment.
I mean, feel free to rebut. And the solo is actually in front of the music. We get a solo at 312. It's not particularly technical, but we do get some harmonization. Like this song is doing stuff that songs should do, and I feel like they've learned through recording the rest of the album. And then the part at 5:30 where he's doing the without blah, repetitive but also powerful. Like it works to build a really solid close to the album. This is, I mean, other than the god-awful chorus that really takes this down a notch, this would be a bop. Brother
But
Paul,
instead,
I-
what is it if it's not a bop? Brother
it
Dave,
is
tell us.
almost a bop.
Okay, fair.
I largely agree with you. I think that most of the song is kind of forgettable and slow, but that last minute and a half where he's doing the without hate, without pain, without suffering and saying it's really powerful and emotional, and it's a great closing to the album. I love originally my note was just like, what a great emotional closer to this album. And then I went back, was re-listening to it at the beginning of the song. I'm like, why the fuck did I write that? And then when that part came on, I was like, okay, I
Right.
remember now. Yeah. So rest of the song, not wonderful, but it does build at the end. It's a really excellent way to close the album, that last minute and a half. Brother
Yeah, the
John.
verses are pretty snoozy, but as they finish each of the verses and they're going into the chorus, it's like this quiet build. They got the picking guitar, but then as they come out of those verses, it swells into the chorus, and they got the backing choir of singers and the vocals. It's just so good. I like, in my opinion, the chorus here slaps hard. And it's like, Jesus Christ, vengeance is mine. It's more like vengeance is the songs when it sees how hard it blasted my beanbag. It's like, holy shit, this is great stuff. And like you guys both have said, I mean, it ends on a hopeful and positive note with that whole last minute and a half or so. He's basically listing off all the things Jesus Christ should embody, which sort of stands at odds with a lot of the controlling ways he's been twisted and used by many modern day Christians. So, again, a song full of hope in a world alone.
Which brings us
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
to the end of the album. And with that, let's kick it over to our resident rankings expert, Brother John.
All right, Jesus Freaks, our final segment is Bop or Flop, where we decide, does the album slap or is it crap? We have honed our patented 6-tier ranking system, going from 6 all the way down to 1. We have, of course, the bops, a perfect 6, unassailable. God has truly shined his divine light on this album. A 5, like to stand on that thing. A banger we could easily listen to again and again. A 4, or that's doable. A very solid album worth checking out. And there are the flops. A 3, it lacks zazz. A 2, sorry, it's not my cup of tea. And a 1, belongs in a garbage can. So back in the day, like I think I said this before, didn't recall ever noticing anything negative about the production or sound of the recording. But now listening to it here 20 some odd years later, geez, I don't know. Hard to say when the last time I listened to this was before we did it for the pod, but it's been a long time. And yeah, the production is rough in much of the album. And there's some other little nitpicks and gripes. And I see what you're saying, Dave. Some of the stuff that you griped about, I think I gloss over because I have rose-colored nostalgia glasses on, or nostalgia headphones as I listen to this. So it didn't really bug me too much. But if I were in your shoes listening to this for the first time with what I know now, not as a young teen in the 90s, I'd be like, man, I don't know about this. So I'm interested to see how you rate this at the end. But yeah, I mean, this album does have a ton of nostalgia for me, which certainly factors into my final score, much like it did for Newsboys last week. But all told, I'd like to slide between this album's thighs, and I'm going to give it a solid 5.
Oh,
Wonderful.
yeah. Yeah, this was an interesting one. I feel like I've been trying to find things to be positive about today, with mixed results. This was a tough album for me, and it is the first album we've done on the pod that I can say I did not enjoy digging into. I found it exhausting. And even listening through the entire thing in one sitting was hard. Partly it's 70 minutes. Everyone's got a terrible attention span now, but man, so many things were overlong, so much repetition. Like the mix is bad. There's a over reliance on reverb instead of actual layering. Musicianship is largely mid. The compositions are kind of samey and overlong. The vocals are distinctive but kind of one note. And after 20 or 30 minutes, they really kind of started to grate on me in a way you don't want your primary instrument to do. That said, the mix composition and dynamics do improve as the album goes on, but it was a little too little too late for me. And I'm gonna have to give this album my lowest rating yet. It's a 2. Sorry, it's not my cup of tea.
Oh, that is your lowest ranking.
By a
Which
Much
fair
like
margin.
as much as the final chorus in Jesus Christ kicked me in the beanbag in a good way, your final rating here has kicked me in my beanbag in a bad way. But I get
well,
it.
That's karma, baby.
And I still love you, brother Dave. So no hard feelings.
will allow me to be King Solomon here because I had a lot of fun revisiting this album, as I haven't listened to Savior Machine in, decades. There was a lot to like here, but it's not without its faults. I think the biggest of which is obviously its production. It's very of its time. There are a couple of big misses, some spotty sections, but overall, I think this is a strong debut which helped pioneer a genre. As such, I gotta give this a strong that's doable and rate it a 4.5. This album won't be on constant repeat for me, but I think it's well worth checking out. Well, brothers and sisters, that's all for this week. Stay tuned for the next episode where we will discuss the 1994 unblack metal classic Heilige Usfahrt by Horde. Until then, may the metal be with you.
And
And
also
also
with
with
you.
you.